or that an old broomstick decorated with seashells and feathers was in fact an aboriginal Polynesian spear used in rituals of sacrifice. Faith begets fact, Mr. Dumfries was fond of saying. Performed? Kestrel worked his jaw left to right, moving the toothpick back and forth in his mouth. In the 3 weeks he had worked for the museum, Philippa had never seen him without one. Even when Kestrel ate, he merely shoved the toothpick to one corner of his mouth and shoveled food into the other. Wasn't anybody east of the Mississippi better than Mr. D at what he did, and nobody west either. But what did you do? Sam asked, a little awkwardly. It doesn't matter now, Mr. Dumfries said quickly. He shot a pointed look in Kestrel's direction, as if cautioning him to stay silent. It's all in the past. Unsatisfied, Philippa focused her attention on the scrapbook, closing her eyes. Almost immediately she inhaled the smell of old, sun-baked leather and ink, of tobacco-stained fingers and photographs drying to the consistency of leaves. A second later, various images flashed in her mind, of a young woman squinting, holding an enormous white cone of cotton candy, of Kestrel and Lash with their arms around each other's shoulders, laughing, of a dusty circus tent, and a bearded lady standing in the entryway, not, Philippa thought critically, as fine a bearded lady as Betty. Her beard was much patchier and not nearly so long. It was as though her mind had fingers and could riffle through all the pages one after the other. She was scanning flyers, hopping over notices advertising the best variety show in America, flipping past a dozen pictures of the Prigg sisters, famed contortionists and human pretzels, fumbling for some evidence of Mr. Dumfries' special skill. Suddenly, an image of the young Dumfries began to form. He was holding something over his shoulder, a broomstick or a shovel or... Slam! All at once, a dark wall came down in her mind, and she could no longer see. Mr. Dumfries had shut the scrapbook away and, furthermore, wedged an ornate Victorian cabinet directly in front of it. When she closed her eyes now, all she saw was a confusion of papers and a miscellany of objects, rubber bands, paper clips, old bills. I'm sorry, Philippa. Mr. Dumfries looked anything but sorry as he returned to his desk and sat down with a little satisfied sigh. But it really isn't nice to stick your mind into other people's business. He carefully righted the cup of pens he had reversed earlier, slotting each pen back in its rightful spot. Thank you, Kestrel. That'll be all for now. I do believe Miss Fitch may need your help turning out the Bloody Baron exhibit. That old guillotine is terribly hard to maneuver. Kestrel's toothpick once again hopped from one corner of his mouth to the other, and without another word, he turned and left the room. Dumfries turned a beaming smile on the children. So, he said, you wanted to see me? There was a brief pause. Once again, Philippa wondered somewhat guiltily what special talent Mr. Dumfries might possibly have possessed. In his cage, Cornelius preened his feathers and let out a prolonged squawk. Actually, Sam said, again apologetically, you wanted to see us? Mr. Dumfries struck his forehead with the palm of his hand. So I did. Don't know what's wrong with my mind nowadays. Old age, children, old age. Never say I didn't warn you. His face turned serious. I'm about to entrust you with an enormous responsibility, he said, lowering his voice as though worried that the large bust of Thomas Jefferson occupying one corner of his desk might come to life just to eavesdrop. As you know, the poor Monsieur Cabillot has taken ill. Let's hope it's the plague, Max muttered. Philippa elbowed her sharply, trying to arrange her face into a fitting expression of sympathy. Monsieur Cabillot was the museum's resident tutor, and ever since September 1st had insisted that school was back in